Andhra Pradesh Deputy Chief Minister Pawan Kalyan announces 10 lakhs as compensation to families of youth who died in an accident after attending the Game Changer event. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Stalin announces $1 million prize for deciphering the Indus Valley script. Two cases of HMPV reported in Karnataka. Health Minister Gundurao urges people to remain calm, promises further action after ICMR's report, says Dinesh Gundurao. Police allows Allu Arjun to meet Shritesh, provided visit to hospital is confidential and the actor is escorted by the police. Let me get you all the book stories that the South Indian is focusing today. As always, stories which make headlines. First up, Tamil Nadu Governor RN Ravi and Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu Stalin spar over disrespect to national anthem. What's the real story? And in Telangana, Revanth Reddy launches Rythu Bharosa scheme. BRS calls it a betrayal. And in Kerala, elephant tramples tribal man to death. MLA PV Anwar arrested for protesting. Alright, that's our top story on the South Indian today. Governor RN Ravi and Stalin spar over the national anthem. Let's get you all the details. What is this story about? But you know what? This has become routine in Tamil Nadu. The run-ins between Governor RN Ravi and the government led by MK Stalin have now become predictably many hot potatoes, with both sides gunning for the other. There have been numerous arguments about what is Dravidam and whether it is regressive, why the name of the state should not be changed to Tamilagam. To understand the latest controversy between the governor and Tamil Nadu government, one needs to recall the past statements which stem, I feel, from a deep mistrust of each other. At the time when RN Ravi has suggested that the name Tamilagam is more accurate than Tamil Nadu, he had said, and I am quoting him here, "Here in Tamil Nadu, a different kind of narrative has been created. Everything applicable for the whole of country, Tamil Nadu will say no, it has become a habit." The Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam, while hitting back at the governor, said, and I quote them here, he makes statements that are factually incorrect and potentially dangerous about Sanatana Dharma, Aryanism, Dravidanism, Thirukkural and colonialism, regardless of the occasion. However, it is not difficult to understand his real motive. So what I am trying to say is deep mistrust. The latest confrontation is a repeat of what had happened twice. Yes, twice before at the inaugural session of the Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly, when Governor RN Ravi did not read the text prepared by the state government and had walked out like he had the previous year, claiming he did not agree with the remarks prepared by the government of Tamil Nadu. In the latest confrontation between Governor Ravi and the Tamil Nadu government, the governor just upped and left the assembly without delivering his customary address. His complaint was that the national anthem was not played after the state anthem, Tamil Thai Varthu. Ravi had insisted that the national anthem be played, but that apparently did not happen. Within minutes of walking out, the governor's office issued a statement accusing the Tamil Nadu government of disrespecting the constitution by not singing the national anthem at the beginning of the session. It's a long statement, but let me read parts of it. The Constitution of Bharat and the national anthem were once again insulted in the Tamil Nadu Assembly today. Today, on arrival of governor to the house, only Tamil Thai Varthu was sung. The governor respectfully reminded the house of its constitutional duty and fervently appealed to the Honorable Chief Minister and the Honorable Speaker for singing the national anthem. However, they custody refused. It is a matter of grave concern not to be a party to such brazen disrespect to the constitution and the national anthem. Governor, in deep anguish, of course, left the office. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Stalin reacted to the incident, calling the governor's actions childish. And he also said, according to the constitution, it is a tradition of legislative assembly for the state governor to read the speech provided by the government at the beginning of the year's assembly. But he has made it his custom to violate it. It is childish for the governor who edited the speech last year to have not read it this year. The governor's actions, which is continuously insulting the people of Tamil Nadu, the government elected by them, and the century-old Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly are unbecoming of the position he holds. Why should someone who is unwilling to perform their political and legal duties remain in office? This is the question on everyone's mind. This is Stalin. Like I said right at the beginning of this conversation with you, ladies and gentlemen, these confrontations have become rather routine, as there was also controversy about the Tamil Thai song in October of 2024 when a stanza with the word Dravidam was missed out at a function at local Doordarshan. Stalin saw that as a deliberate attempt, an insult, as Governor Ravi was very much present at the function, and this despite an explanation given out by DD officials. Then of course there are other issues which make both the DMK and government Ravi often have an eyeball confrontation. NEET, Hindi imposition, and of course withholding of several bills. Even as Annamalai took to X and wrote out a lengthy tweet on the issue, which is on your screens right now, and RN Ravi reiterated that he respects the Tamil Nadu culture and has love for Tamil Nadu's traditions and culture. Isn't it time that a solution be found for this constant tit for tat? What about so many hours which are lost in one side saying this and the other side then, responding? Let's get all the guests right in. Salem Dharanidharan, spokesperson for the DMK, is with us. Professor Mukund Padmanabhan, senior journalist, and also Kasturi Shankar, actor, political activist, and of course lawyer, is joining us on the broadcast but over the phone. First up, I want to go to Professor Mukund Padmanabhan. Professor Padmanabhan, I have lost count of how many times has this happened when he's calling him, arrogant. He instead calls him that, you have a very myopic view of everything. It should be Tamilagam, it should be Tamil Nadu. But today apparently it's a kind of, not a legal, but a small kind of matter of detail, as it were, Professor. DMK says that the practice followed in Tamil Nadu Assembly is to sing the Tamil Thai Varthu ahead of the governor's address, and the national anthem is played upon the conclusion of the address. Now, as one understands, apparently the governor left in a half, 3 minutes, once the Tamil Thai song was played. Do you think that it almost looks like one is spoiling for a fight, Professor?
I think absolutely. I think you've summed up, the fact that this has become fairly routine. And it's just unfortunate. And I think you made this point, which is also very much on my mind. I think too much of newsprint, too much of airtime, too much of public attention is focused on what is really not so significant a matter. And I think it's important to ask why. Why are we getting so exercised by issues like this over and over again? And I think the short answer is it's in everybody's interests politically to make a mountain out of a molehill.
Right.
And really, if it was a custom in the Tamil Nadu Assembly to play the Tamil Thai, which is a prayer or an invocation first, so be it. I don't think it's a major issue. If there was a request from the governor that the national anthem be played after that, what's the problem with acceding to it? I don't see a problem really. But I think, I just regret that we live in a time where I think people want to milk such issues politically, and I think they distract from, the larger issues concerning the state. And I think we need to also ask whether Governor Ravi really, we know he's uncomfortable about reading the speeches before. Last year, he omitted certain things. He, I think, added a couple of lines which sort of invoked a kind of censure from the assembly. And we can't ignore the fact that, we have someone who's really uncomfortable with just reading, the address that is sent to him, which is really his duty. So I think behind this entire issue are sort of larger issues like this, and then it gets dressed up as an issue of, whether someone's anti-national or whether someone's performing its constitutional duty. And I think it's truly regrettable that we're all assembled here, actually, whoever the guests are. And we need to discuss this on a Monday evening when I think we'll all be better occupied doing more important things.
Yeah, I know that, but the point is that the governor is a very important constitutional position, and whenever governments are being formed and for various legalities, I mean, as under the constitution, one looks up to the governor and sees. So, what you're saying is that it's a waste of time. I do agree, but then both sides seem relentless. They want to take it further. Salem Dharnidharan, let me come to you, Salem Dharnidharan. The thing is that I somehow feel this is not the first time that the Honorable Governor is attending an assembly. This is not the first time. This is happening for the third time. The controversies have followed him. He does not read the speech which is prepared. The speaker, Appavu, has to read it. Then, certain things are inserted or omitted, which may be objectionable, etc., etc. I just don't understand. It's a technicality. As understood by me is that the Tamil Thai Varthu is played. Everyone stands up in reverence as it should be. Why not? And after that, the address and then the national anthem. This is not the question of who is being more Dravidian or more Tamil than the other. Dharnidharan?
Where is the question of anyone being anything comes? It's nothing here. The whole point is this is not the first time, or only after 2021 DMK came to power, there's all these procedures are taking place. Ever since the country became a republic and states are being formed, these are the procedures that are being followed. Of course, Tamil Nadu got an exemption, and this clause is now followed across India. Right. So this is not the first time it's happening. But the point is, the governor, every time he comes, finds one problem or the other and he leaves. 2 years back, he walked away when national anthem was being sung. He walked away during the national anthem was sung. Last year, he gave some other drama. So basically, he wants drama. So are these conventions introduced by the DMK government in 2021? No, these have been the conventions established by the Constitution. For example, you are the anchor of the show, right? You can't be the spokesperson of the DMK or Congress or the BJP. Or I come as a spokesperson, can't be an anchor. So we all have separate roles and responsibilities. As a governor, his roles and responsibilities are that he has only duties, constitutional duties to perform. That has been explicitly made clear in the Constitution, in the constitutional debate, as well as in the Supreme Court verdicts. Supreme Court, in fact, several judgments have said the governor is nothing but shorthand expression for the State Council of Ministers,
right.
Which means that he is only one opinion of the state legislature. In fact, in constitutional debate, I have to mention an important point. When there was a discussion going on and they said, why can't we elect a governor? And then they said, no, we can't elect the governor because if the governor is elected, probably he will run a parallel government. Okay. So we should only be appointed. The reason why he is appointed is because there shouldn't be a misunderstanding that governor can govern or governor can administer. But
I do understand that. But Dharnidharan, it seems like there is one is spoiling for a fight. You and I can have a conversation, but every time I'm provoking you, it's a waste of man hours, it's waste of good work which needs to be done by both the government. I mean, what is this? They are not children, who are sparring over a pencil. Who does it belong to? Kasturi Shankar, let me bring you in here, Kasturi. This is, like I said, this must be the 12th or the 13th time. I've done many stories on this. And it is important because the governor holds a constitutional position and Stalin and his government, they are the ruling dispensation in Tamil Nadu. One can't ignore this. But don't you feel that sometimes it is just that, okay, here I am looking for an opportunity to just pounce at you? Would you say? Maybe I'm wrong, but would you say perhaps the governor could have waited, Kasturi, because after all, the national anthem or the Janagana Mana is played after the address is over. So it is just a bit of a technicality, Kasturi, like we did in schools. You can't pause. Yeah, go ahead.
With your background in Tamil Nadu, you know that we have an idiom which is, we have sung Janagana Mana. That literally translates to the proceedings have gotten over and it is time for the national anthem, then everybody goes home. This has practice Tamil Nadu in either government, whether official, whether corporate, or whether it's in school or anywhere. If it's a private event or a public event, this has been the general practice. Now the DMK Tamil government brought in the government order that we have to sing the Tamil Thai Varthu in the beginning.
Okay.
So now that's an addition. But as far as I know, there are very few instances that I have been part of where the national anthem is sung in the very beginning of an event. And as far as the Legislative Assembly is concerned, and again, Mr. Dharani Dharan will vouch for the fact that I'm one of the strong critics of the DMK government, and yet one has to admit that in all these years, be it an ADMK government or a DMK government, in all these years, it has been practiced to sing the Tamil Thai Varthu in the beginning and the national anthem in the end. That's how it has been.
So do you think the governor jumped the gun maybe? I mean, with due respects to him.
Let's say this. Mr. Governor, Honorable Governor RN Ravi has gained a reputation of being a trigger-happy fault finder, and he is not doing any favors to the central disposition with this kind of a very hostile attitude. He seems to literally every event that he takes part in, he uses it as an opportunity to pick a bone with the ruling dispensation. So this is not doing any favors to the central government or its leadership, because if you notice, Sudhaji, the DMK ministers go to Delhi and they are all pally and they are extremely respectful. They release photos with the finance minister, with the prime minister, and Modi ji is the chief guest for the World Chess Conference, World Chess contest. And so it's, Khelo India Games. So from an official point of view, they cooperate. Both the governments cooperate with each other.
As it should be.
Yeah, and both the leaders are amicable in public. So the governor taking a different stance to the central government stance is very unusual, and it goes against everything. And my biggest problem is public today don't care. They don't care about national anthem or governor or chief minister.
It
they don't
seems
care
like
about protocol. What they care is about the Anna University issue. What they care is about price rights. Those issues are not being discussed, and this is getting
but there was a walkout apparently. Professor Padmanabhan, let me come to you, Professor. What Kasturi said, I mean, we all seem to be, focusing on one issue, and that is the wastage, not only the wastage of man hours, but also this deliberate attempt to confront each other. I mean, I have seen various, now, if I say, let's kind of encourage Hindi, that to say that is different from saying everyone should learn Hindi. I think that's a bit coercive, and particularly knowing full well that you are the governor of Tamil Nadu and you are coming there. Do you get a feeling, Professor, that unlike earlier times, in recent times, as you saw, whether it was Governor, Arif Mohammad Khan Saab of Kerala, now of course he's been transferred, whether it was earlier, Tamil Sai Soundararajan, doctor who was the governor of Telangana, there seems to be this, okay, I'm going to push my agenda against what you stand for. Don't you think, Professor, that is terribly counterproductive and a waste of time, and that is assembly is not the place to actually further your political beliefs or agendas or ideology, Professor?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, there have been governors, not just in the recent past, but many years ago. Channa Reddy is a good example of someone who was pitted against Jayalalitha when she was in power, and not everything that he did or said was ideal in the circumstances. So I think we've had this before. Yes, recently, there's been an issue in Kerala, there's been an issue in Tamil Nadu, elsewhere, and I think this is likely to happen as long as we have a system where the governor is appointed by the center, I mean, the DMK
Right.
spokesperson is right in suggesting that, in certain functions, he just has to listen to the state government, but at the same time, he's also an agent of the center. So there is this delicate constitutional balance that he has to maintain. And I think if we're getting into Mr. Ravi's case, I think, Kasturi made, I think, what were very, very valid points, and I think we're all in agreement. I think he has spoken a little too much now and then. And I think it would be good for the state if he, spoke a little less about, matters that could be interpreted politically and focused on just performing, I think, what is his constitutional duties.
All right.
This is not to give a clean sheet to any state government or anything. They have their own politics to play. But, I think we're all better off without having to address, these non-existent controversies, which only benefits political parties because they detract from the real issues. And this is a point Kasturi made as well.
Yeah, all right. Dharanidharan, I also see the kind of, the narrative which is there, the use of words, the language which is used. Apart from the eyeball-to-eyeball confrontation, he's childish, oh, they are arrogant, he does not know Indian history, oh, as if he knows some... look at it. Look at the narrative which is there. It is okay, he is a constitutional head, but your government, which is led by Stalin, I'm not saying, first of all, I'm not taking sides here. I'm just saying, look at the use of language that is used. I mean, not just Mr. Stalin, but several of members of his cabinet have also used bordering on disparaging comments about Governor Ravi. So I just don't understand that, every time the assembly is for us, the people who voted you, to know what is going on, what is your plan, of course, to protest, like Kasturi said about the horrific Anna University sex assault. But then the thing is that there is more focus on who gets away with the most kind of hurtful words, Dharanidharan.
Madam, I would like to tell an anecdote. Somnath Chatterjee was the speaker 2008 in UPA, and his own party wanted to leave the alliance because they were protesting against the nuclear deal with the UP was then signing with the American government. Right. But then Somnath Chatterjee said, I am not anymore a party person, I am the speaker. Because he's a speaker. So as a governor, you may have whatever personal opinions, but you have to give respect to your position. Right? The position of a governor. It's a non-partisan post. The governor has been time and again behaving like a politician. See,
I agree.
We politicians can fight. Right? It's fine. In a democracy, in a healthy democracy, the opposition will have to criticize the ruling government whenever we are wrong.
Dharanidharan, I have one, sorry to interject, Dharanidharan, my apologies. I have one question. Withholding of so many vital bills, NEET for instance, how many stories you and I must have done? It is not just NEET, but NEET is a burning issue. It involves lakhs and lakhs of students. How much of a problem is it when a governor says, okay, I'm going to sit on it and I'm not going to take action on it, Dharanidharan?
Exactly. I think that's a problem. It's not happening only in Tamil Nadu, it's happening in many other states.
Right.
See, as a governor, you have no administrative role, or legislature is called legislature because it legislates, right? Sattamandram in call in Tamil because it can make sattam, right? It's not, so that is why, so governor has no role in policy making. See, the MLAs are elected by the people, MLAs in turn pass the bills on behalf of the people. So they represent the voice of the people. They don't represent the voice of the DMK.
But the governor has a right to do that under the constitution also. He has a right to withhold it. He has a right that he can sit on it for a stipulated time. But I was asking you how much, sorry?
See, I've written on this, I've read about this. The governor has two options ideally. One is to immediately give assent to it, or he can reject it and send it back to the assembly. But the assembly will send it second time, he has to agree. But the time duration is not mentioned. Why it was not mentioned is not because he can take inordinate amount of time. It's because they expected the governors to act as soon as possible.
All right. But that option today, that option today seems very kind of, redundant, defunct, because no one is even, focusing on the work. One is only focused. You did not stand, you did not play the national anthem. Why did you play Tamil, Thai, Varthu, etc., etc.? Kasturi Shankar, how does, it's a marriage which has gone not just bad, but it is really stinking up. It's something's very rotten, in the state of Tamil Nadu. So what do you think is the way out? You're a lawyer also by profession. I'm sure that, a lot of lawyers in DMK, because they're also party members, must have looked at it. But this constant kind of confrontation where it seems like I'm showing how superior I am because I come from allegedly the Hindi belt as against someone who's a Tamil. But what is the way out, Kasturi?
Yeah, it's very unfortunate that these kind of constant bickerings and, literally, it's not even making a mountain out of a molehill. It's making a mountain out of absolutely nothing at all. This, unfortunately, and that's my grouse as well, is it leads to speculation about how anti-Tamil the center is. And again, that's very unfortunate for the center. I mean, already the DMK has won several elections based on the plank that the BJP is anti-Tamil. And now the governor is, his actions are almost giving proof to the pudding. It's really unfortunate. You called it a marriage gone sour. I'm not even comparing the governor to husband and wife. This is more mother-in-law, daughter-in-law situation happening in Tamil Nadu, where the mother-in-law completely hates the daughter-in-law, and whatever she does, she can do nothing right by her, it's like that. And really, from sheer numbers in the assembly, there are 4 BJP MLAs,
right,
and the ADMK EPS, headed by EPS, is the principal opposition party.
Okay.
And therefore, the other conspiracy theory that's going to come out now is that the BJP is trying to take the wind away from not just the ruling DMK, but also from the opposition parties, because the opposition parties would have discussed people-centric issues.
Right.
Today is gone.
All right. Professor Padmanabhan, I give you the last question, Professor. The governor later, of course, also released another statement, if we can put it up on the screen, about how he respects Tamil culture, the Tamil identity, that he has great love for it. Doesn't wash. According to me, the damage is done. Sorry to sound so cruel and like that, but as you've been a journalist, you've run a newspaper, one story which comes out like that, an apology like this, or rather an explanation like this, really does not hold. What would you say?
Well, I mean, I read that statement, and it basically, I think he was trying to make the point that it's not out of a disrespect for Tamil culture that he took the stand. It was because of what he sees as the DMK's or the ruling party's disrespect of what he has suggested is our constitutional, other constitutional issues is what he's raised. I don't know how to read this, as he is not a political functionary, but it's, it reads like a sort of a clever political statement saying, look, I'm not against you, I'm not against the state, it's the other guys that are, really against the country. So I just, I don't want to say it's hogwash or rubbish, but it certainly seemed like the wise thing to do in the circumstances given controversy.
On that note, thank you very much, Kasturi Shankar. Thank you, Professor Mukund Padmanabhan. Thank you very much, Salem Dharnidharan, for joining us on the first big story on the South Indian. This Governor Ravi and Stalin confrontation is like for the nth time, and I wonder if they will stop, because man-hours are wasted. It's an unnecessary controversy. The next story is from Telangana. Chief Minister Revanth Reddy launches the Rythu Bharosa scheme. BRS calls it a betrayal. I'll see you on the other side, coming up after the break.
In the chaos of battle, one weapon stands as a silent reaper of the battlefield. It can kill at ranges of over 3 kilometers. Just one precise shot can shatter enemy lines, disrupt entire formations, and tip the scales of war. This is a weapon born in Bharat, and it's crafted to take on the best in the world. This is the S Defense Sabre, and you're watching Guns of India.
This and more. Streaming on News9, plus subscribe and get free vouchers.
We made history for a reason tonight.
Will it change the shape of American foreign policy? Violence has erupted in Manipur once again. How can we pass judgment, sir, before any inquiry that, they were volunteers or militants, sir?
All right, then you're watching the South Indian, and this is the second story that we are focusing on. Very, very important. Revanth Reddy launches Rythu Bharosa. BRS calls it a betrayal. So what's the real deal? Let's find out. You know what? There is some good news for farmers in Telangana, as the Revanth Reddy government has announced that they shall be eligible for 12,000 rupees per acre under the state government's agriculture investment annually under the Rythu Bharosa scheme. A political slugfest has, however, unfolded over the amount, because although the amount is 2,000 rupees more than what farmers have so far been receiving, it falls short of 15,000 that the Congress had promised ahead of the assembly elections in 2023. The state cabinet also decided to pay 12,000 per annum to all landless agriculture labourers under a scheme which shall be called the Indramma Atmiya Rythu Bharosa. Both the schemes will be launched on Republic Day, which is 26th of January, coinciding with the 75th anniversary of the framing of the Indian Constitution. Now, Revanth Reddy explained when asked why his government had slashed the Rythu Bharosa amount by 3,000 and said that his government was still paying 2,000 more than what the BRS government had paid when it was in power. And of course, the decision was in keeping with the state's finances, which is not really healthy by any standard, and Revanth Reddy has spoken about it many a time. The BRS raised a storm over the issue and called the offer a betrayal by the Revanth Reddy government. In a post on X, the former Telangana minister K.T. Ramarao said how the Congress is synonymous with fraud and deceit. He compared the party to a useless relative who's a burden on the family, and Revanth Reddy as a traitor to farmers. KTR said the much publicized Warangal Rythu declaration and Rahul Gandhi's promises to farmers were hollow and had no meaning. The BRS protested against the Rythu Bharosa scheme and hit the streets by raising slogans. Telangana has been receiving several subsidies by ruling dispensations, ladies and gentlemen, whether it's the BRS or it's been the Congress. And any attempt to dilute that may cost a party more than it can actually manage. That's what political experts are talking about. Let's debate. Let me welcome Krishank Mane, BRS leader, to the debate, and Rohit Rao Menini, who's the spokesperson for the Telangana Congress. A very warm welcome to both of you. Krishank Mane, why is it a betrayal? Because the amount is, like Reddy Garu says, it is less than 15,000 at 12,000, but it is more than what you were given.
Well, number one, Sudhaji, the same 12,000 was promised by KCR Garu also. In fact, we promised 16,000 every year annually to increase it by 1,000 rupees. So by 5 years, it would grow up to 16,000. And mind you, this was a brainchild of KCRG, Rythu Bandhu, which was later even adopted by Narendra Modi ji's entire government of India with the name Kisan Samman Nidhi. West Bengal also started Krishak Bandhu. So such a fabulous scheme, the Rythu Bandhu, Number one, Revanth Reddy Garu promised, he said that if Congress will come, 15,000 rupees would be given. And this was announced by none other than their Supremo Rahul Gandhi ji. Why we are saying it is a betrayal, that be it with the Rythu Bharosa, be it with the bonus for paddy. First they say bonus for paddy. Then after coming into government, they say that only fine rice, not coarse rice, not because here we have a lot of produce of parboiled rice, the coarse rice. But now they say conditions apply.
Yeah, but you know, but Krishank, he even 2 months ago, Revanth Reddy had said that the finances of the state are in a red because of the huge debts that your government had incurred. And Revanth Reddy said, I do not know, I've got data here, we do research on this, just do not speak from our heads. He said the state's monthly revenue of around 18,500 crore was insufficient to meet the requirements, and the state will require at least 30,000 crores a month if it has to fulfill all its commitments. So it is not as if, whether it is any government which comes to power, seldom do we hear that the health, the financial health is absolutely fine. So Revanth Reddy is actually tackling that, and of course the guarantees that he has promised. Let me come back to you. Rohit Raumenini, welcome to the show. Good to have you for the first time on the South Indian. Tell me something. Why did you reduce the amount that you promised during the election? You won the election, sir. And with it was a good victory. Otherwise, you know, BRS would have had a hat-trick. But you said 15,000 rupees, and today you say 12,000 rupees. You say, yeah, we will look at it. Of course, we are waiting for Sankranti. Also for you to walk the talk on the loan waiver for farmers. Mr. Rao.
Ma'am, as you rightly pointed out, I think half of the answer was in the opening statement that you made yourself. We made a promise to give 15,000. There's no denying that. You know, I would be absolutely blatantly lying if I said that we never promised that. It was a fact. It was put on the paper, and it was in one of the guarantees. Now, can I please state very blatantly that normally, whether it's a manifesto or whether it's any 6 guarantees, you get the full term of the government to actually see whether a government has actually fulfilled its promises or not. What we are saying right now is, given the state's financial circumstances, given the huge debt that was incurred by the previous government and the fact that we have to service it, being a responsible government, and we didn't want to go back on the promises that we made, we are still paying more than 2,000 rupees more than what the TRS government was paying, which was 10,000. And this is just 1 year into the 5-year term that we received. As the finances will improve, and I'm sure we have many schemes that we're doing to increase
on the South Indian, on this show, Mr. Rao, do you promise that
Can I please complete my statement?
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Please. So we will do our best in terms of fulfilling each and every promise that we did. And what is wrong in actually launching the scheme with 12,000, which is more than 10,000, by the way? It's not that we're saying, oh, by the way, the finances is bad and we're going to complete it.
Should I tell you what is wrong? Should I tell you, Mr. Rao, if you want to listen, now that you finish, you know what is wrong? I tell you that I will give you 10 rupees, I give you 7 rupees. It's a disappointment. An award, when it is reduced, is not an award or a reward. It's a disappointment. And these are farmers. They were used to Rythu Bandhu. Not that Rythu Bandhu was perfect. It had lot of loopholes. One of the reasons that the BRS lost elections was because it was mismanaged. But you cannot say that after all it's 2,000. It's a big amount for that farmer who's sitting there, sir.
No. We not say, we haven't, ma'am, I haven't used the word after all. I haven't used the word it's a reduced amount. All I am saying is, given the circumstances, we should be happy that we are going ahead with the 12,000, and as the finances will improve, and we've got another 4 years to complete this government, we will try and fulfill each and every promise that we've made. And we've been doing that.
All right. You know, one of the problems, Krishank, was also, let me remind you, do you want to say something in response to what Mr. Rao said?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Go ahead.
In fact, I've had to answer your questions also, Sudhaji, because what we feel is debts is an excuse. Doesn't Revanth Reddy Garu know when they made a manifesto? Don't they know when they have released declaration? Don't they know the situations of the economies of the state when they gave guarantees and 420 promises? Didn't they know that? Number one, it was they who gave promise of a deadline that on December 9th at a single go we will do farm loan waiver. On December 9th at a single strike of a signature, we'll give you Rythu Bharosa. Within 100 days of Praja Palana, we will deliver all the guarantees. It was them who gave the deadline, number one. And in the entire year of 2024, which is the last year, both the crops, the farmers did not get a single rupee. They failed to release Rythu Bandhu. How should the farmers, whom should they blame?
I take it, but I will now because I have done a lot of stories when your government was in power and I showed them what good work they did, and of course it's my duty as a journalist to show the loopholes. What did Rythu Bandhu do? You pay me 5,000 rupees per acre, but if I have 20 acres, I grow richer by every year. But if I have 0.2 acres, I still remain. You created a complete unfair distribution of wealth amongst farmers. That was one of the reasons we always said that you were creating landowners. You had no respect for tenant farmers. This is what you were doing. It's a fact, Krishank. Don't you think it was mismanaged also?
Absolutely, it was mismanaged.
Our policy, Sudhaji, we still stand by it firmly that tenant farmers, let Congress government show by giving the tenant farmers, because it will question the legal right of the ownership.
Rohit, come in.
It will question the constitution.
Rohit, come on.
It will question the legal framework. We challenge, how will Congress government do that? Show us.
Rohit.
How will you
Krishank,
give the tenant farmers?
See, there's absolutely no reason to raise your tempo, and equally I can raise my tempo. Let's have a civil debate for a change. This is an English channel after all. So if you can maintain the decorum, that'd be awesome. Please,
I'm
number
making
one.
my points. Boss,
No, but there's no reason to go hyperbole. You know, you're sitting as a party representative. I'm sitting as a party representative. Let's have a civil debate.
No, I wasn't addressing you.
All right, let's come to the point.
I was answering the anchor. What are you teaching me?
Rohit, Krishank has always been very civil. I will vouch for Krishank Mane. Go ahead, Rohit.
Right. All right. So what I'm saying is, if I can then start and say, okay, how many promises did the KCR government make in its first term, and then how many promises did they make in the second term, how many they delivered? We can go on and on about what they have done bad and what they have done good. Here is a government that is actually sticking to what they promised, and they're trying to deliver the best they can in the given time frames. It's only been 1 year. And now Mr. Krishank is saying, how are you going to, support the tenants? We'll be legally challenging you. Are you threatening us? Are you saying that the tenant farmer should not get a penny? We will go through and we will come out with the modalities, and let it take its due course. Why are you jumping ahead and saying
Rohit, when are you releasing the Rohit? Very, very crucial question also is, let's be productive. When are you going to release the waivers, the farm loan waivers, which you said Sankranti? Will you walk the talk? Because 26th Sankranti is before that, if I'm not wrong, 14th and 15th, at least for us in Tamil Nadu, Pongal. What about you? I think, are you going to walk the talk if so far as the loan waiver is concerned? 26th is of course Republic Day, but that comes almost 10 days after Sankranti.
No. Loan waivers were already done last calendar year for most of the farmers that were eligible, who were under the less than 2 lakhs bracket. Loan waivers were completely done. What we are talking right now is the Rythu Bharosa scheme, or the Indrama Rythu Bharosa scheme that we are rightly calling it now. So this is separate to the loan waiver. The loan waivers were already done last year, and all eligible farmers, most of the cases, there could be some 1 or 2 examples here and there that may have some technical issues with the bankers or not, but by and large, all the farmers were very happy that the crop loans up to 2 lakhs were fully fulfilled by the Revanth Reddy government. What we're talking right now is the yearly installment, the bi-yearly installment that is due in terms of the 6,000 rupees. That will be delivered as promised by the cabinet by the 26th. Sankranti in Tamil Nadu or even in Telangana is also on the 14th, ma'am. Yeah. So we are going to absolutely stick by the deadlines, whatever the
Chief Minister Revanth Garu has said that this 12,000 is to help the farmers. I wonder, Rohit, that when you make an announcement like this, after all, manifestos are said to kind of, these are promises which are paid. I'm not saying you have to walk the talk you have to fulfill every promise. But come on, Rohit Rao Meneni, this is a major deviation from the promise that you have made. You say you will correct it. Of course, you can't give me a date. I will not even press gang you to do that. But don't you think this has already sent out a very negative message amongst the people of Telangana?
Look, ma'am, I'm not here to deny the fact that it was promised as 15,000 and what we're able to give is 12,000. Of course, there will be some commentary from media, from opposition, and even from some of the farmers themselves that, oh, you promised 15, you're only able to give 12. I'll be naive if I say that, no, this is just an absolutely positive message. I wish we were in a financial capacity to give the entire amount that we promised. I honestly, personally believe, and as well as a spokesperson of Congress, I want the government to fulfill its promises as soon as possible. But I'm very confident that in its due course, we will be able to fulfill all the commitments. So 12,000 is still positive news. It's not less than 10,000. That's my point. So, there's many other schemes that the Congress government is doing, and there's too many positives that are happening. So let's take it for what it is. And
yeah, but let's not forget that your win in Karnataka was because of the guarantees, which was of course aped in Telangana, and today again it's been spoken for Delhi elections also, because that is your Brahmastra, as it is called, and you dilute that, there could be a problem. Krishank Mane, he wants to come in.
1 second before Krishank.
Come on, no, let me. Boliye.
Sudhaji, in 2024, we've seen a Sankranti go away, we've seen a Ugadi go away, we've seen a Diwali, Dasara go away. Rythu Bharosa did not happen in 2024. Not a penny was released. Okay, now they've come up with Sankranti. But I will go with just factual figures. I will not just say that done. Because Honorable Chief Minister Revanth Reddy Garu said 40,000 crores for farm loan waiver. And then we hear the Finance Minister and Deputy Chief Minister Bhati Vikramarka says that the bankers released only 8,000 crores. Where is 40,000 crores and where is 88,000 crores? And Mr. Rao says that farm loan waiver is already done. It's closed. It's a closed chapter now. So the ground reality is farm loan waiver was a hogwash. Rythu Bharosa also, they want to just delay time on the name of festival, gods and dilly-dally. Bonus of paddy also was the same. The bonus of paddy also was the same declaration and the guarantee where they said 500 bonus, and then they brought conditions.
All right, let Rohit wants to come in.
Deceiving farmers.
Rohit, do you have a defense for what Krishank Mane said right now?
8,000.
That festivals come and go, but you've not delivered, and also when you've delivered this, you've diluted it, Rohit Rao Meneni.
No. The fact that the figures that have been floated, 40,000 crores versus 8,000 crores, let's have a proper debate on that. Maybe next time you can please invite us. We'll come prepared with
I can play the video of Bhati Vikramarka. I can play you the video of the Deputy Chief.
Please allow me to finish. The point I was trying to make before I get there, please, is actually as political parties, right? And I put my neck out and I say this, even it could be perceived as being a little bit negative in terms of whether it is even committing against my own party. All parties, whether it is BRS, whether it is BJP, whether it is Congress, whether it is the Aam Aadmi Party, whether whatever parties that are relevant in the Indian political system, all of them need to have a real deep dive and come up with actual proper planning before they put out manifestos, right? It is high time, because I have lived myself.
So you think you made a mistake? Are you accepting on air that you did not do due diligence, Rohit Rao Meneni?
Can I please complete? Please. I was trying to make a point
that
you can always use as a bite point, right? You can always. So this is it's high time that all political parties sit down and actually come up with a system where you completely go through the finances and only promise those that can be done. What we have done is,
why don't you preach the same during polls? When once you get into power, you start preaching about your manifestos.
At least for the 6 guarantees, we are confident that we are going to deliver. At least for the 6 guarantees, we are confident that we're going to deliver on each one of them. I was trying to make a moral point. You take it or leave it, but that's my take on that.
So are you accepting on air that, maybe you jumped the gun? You could have done due diligence, Rohit?
In general, I'm not saying specifically about the 6 guarantees. In general, all political parties are actually problematic in this, right? Everyone is just promising hundreds of things, whereas they will, in reality, they know they'll be able to deliver 90% of them or 95% or in some cases less. At least this government is committed to delivering the six guarantees to its fullest potential. And I'm saying we have done a decent job in giving 12,000 rupees. And yes, given the financial situations.
All right. But decent, no one is gainsaying the fact that you may have done a decent job, Rohit. The point is, you haven't walked the talk. And that, I think, is the moot point here. And it's very, very gracious of you to say that, yes, we did not. But the point is that guarantee, the word itself means it is guaranteed. Guarantees cannot be diluted. Rohit, thanks very much.
You just have to wait for the term. All I'm saying is give us the term.
Actually, not just guarantees, Sudhaji, just to add, Rahul Gandhi ji said that this would be made a law. So what they have done is unlawful. Guarantees was supposed to be a law in the first cabinet meeting. Today you violated your own law.
Krishankji, there's 4 more years, right? And I'm very sure, come the time, you would have delivered all the 6 promises.
All right, as long as the farmers get what they've been promised, I think all of us will go home happy. Thank you very much, Krishank. As always, Rohit Rao Meneni, thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast. And the next story is coming from Kerala. It's about a wild elephant. All right, that's the story. Elephant tramples man to death in Kerala. The death of a tribal man on 5th of January after an attack by a wild elephant in Kerala's Malappuram has led to protest in the state calling for urgent action to address the rising incidents of man-animal conflict. This has been going on for many years. On Sunday, a 37-year-old man called Mani, who belonged to the Cholanayakan community, died after being trampled by a wild elephant while walking through a dense forest near Nilambur. Following the incident, workers belonging to the Democratic Movement of Kerala, or DMK, a social collective founded by independent MLA from Nilambur, PV Anwar, staged a protest in front of the district forest office. Leading the protest, Anwar criticized the Kerala government and the forest department for negligence in addressing the man-animal conflict in the region. Anwar also slammed the authorities for allegedly delaying the post-mortem of Mani and claimed that the forest minister had not even visited the area even to console the deceased's family. The protest, however, escalated with the group breaking into the office on a Sunday when it was shut and began vandalizing property, including chairs, and throwing around light fixtures. After damaging the office, the protesters marched to Nilambur District Hospital where Mani's body was kept. The march, which lasted for about 90 minutes, was however stopped by the police, resulting in the arrest of 3 DMK workers in front of the hospital. PV Anwar was arrested at his home in Othai, Nilambur, in connection with the vandalism of the Nilambur Forest Division office. A case has been, of course, filed against Anwar under non-bailable sections, including destruction of public property and obstruction of justice. Anwar has meanwhile alleged that his arrest was part of a political conspiracy orchestrated by Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan and political leader P. Sasi. He said that he shall face the case legally. Anwar also criticized Forest Minister A.K. Sasindran and the police for delaying Mani's post-mortem. But the question remains is that the man-animal conflict needs to end, as many in Kerala had promised, particularly during the elections in Wayanad. The wild elephants have killed many, and it's now time for the state government and the centre to take action.
ഈ ആശുപത്രിയിലെത്തിയ ശവശരീരമാണ്. അപ്പോൾ എന്താണ് ഈ ഗവൺമെന്റിന്റെ നിലപാട്? ഈ മനുഷ്യരെ മുഴുവൻ ഇങ്ങനെ മൃഗങ്ങൾക്കിട്ട് ചവിട്ടിക്കൊല്ലിച്ച് ഈ അങ്ങാടിയിൽ ഒരു പട്ടി വണ്ടി കയറി മരിച്ചാൽ ഇവിടെ പ്രതിഷേധിക്കാൻ ആളുണ്ടാവും. ഇവിടുത്തെ വലിയ പ്രകൃതി സ്നേഹികളെ അങ്ങാടിയിലെത്തും, വലിയ പത്രസമ്മേളനം നടക്കും. ഒരു മനുഷ്യജീവൻ ഇവിടെ ഈ കോലത്തിൽ ഒരു ആന ചവിട്ടി അരച്ചിട്ട് ഈ നിമിഷം വരെ ഒരു നിലപാട്, ഒരു ഇടപെടൽ ഒരു സർക്കാർ നടത്തിയിട്ടില്ലെങ്കിൽ ഈ അങ്ങാടിയിലൂടെ തെണ്ടി നടക്കുന്ന പട്ടികളുടെ വില ഈ മലയോര മേഖലയിൽ ജീവിക്കുന്ന മനുഷ്യർക്ക് ഈ സർക്കാർ കണക്കാക്കുന്നില്ല എന്നതിൻ്റെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയ തെളിവാണ് ഈ ബോഡി, ഈ മണിയുടെ ശവശരീരം കഴിഞ്ഞ 12 മണിക്കൂറായിട്ട് ജില്ലാ ആശുപത്രിയിലെ മോർച്ചറിയിൽ കിടക്കുന്നത്.
All right, with that, the South Indian will say goodbye now, but then make this your destination. All weekdays at 5 o'clock, the South Indian will be here bringing you stories from all the states in south of India. So until we meet again, which is of course tomorrow, Vanakkam.
Valuations can be frothy. Going public is almost like what some of us would like to say is the holy grail, right? IPOs are a trend, not a bubble.
Those secondary markets